Hello, my name is Jordan Snipes, and I'm a kindergarten teacher. I predominantly teach children from diverse cultural and socioeconomic backgrounds. Today, I am excited to introduce my Math All Around Us Learning Center, where I will outline my instructional plan and discuss how I will make my lesson culturally relevant, hands-on, rigorous, and innovative. In this video, I will demonstrate how I engage students in exploring shapes through interactive and creative activities. By creating a supportive and inclusive classroom environment, I aim to not only teach foundational mathematical concepts, but also celebrate the diversity within our classroom. As a kindergarten teacher, establishing a connection with my students is crucial to creating a positive learning environment. During the 2023-2024 school year, I took the time to interact with each child individually and in group settings. Through these interactions, I developed a solid understanding of their interests, learning styles, and prior knowledge of shapes. I observed that many of my students know basic shapes such as circles, squares, triangles, and rectangles. Some children showed enthusiasm for hands-on activities, while others benefited from visual aids and storytelling. Understanding these preferences helped me design engaging activities that cater to diverse learning needs. This geometry lesson follows the NC Standard Course of Study for Mathematics, specifically designed for the kindergarten level. The learning objective is for students to correctly identify and describe basic 2D geometric shapes, recognize their characteristics such as the number of sides and features, and use these shapes to create a picture and narrate a story. By the end of this lesson, students should be able to correctly name 2D shapes regardless of their orientations or overall size, model shapes in the world by building and drawing triangles, rectangles, squares, hexagons, and circles, and compose simple shapes to form larger shapes. For this lesson, we will begin with an introduction to shapes, where students will learn and review common shapes like circles, squares, triangles, rectangles, and hexagons. Each shape will be compared to familiar objects from their everyday environment to help them recognize and understand their characteristics. Following this introduction, students create pictures incorporating these shapes. Next, students will develop a short story or description related to their artwork. During the presentation phase, students will share their pictures and stories with the class. Finally, the lesson will conclude with a discussion about the shapes used. Cultural relevance will be integrated by connecting the shapes with the diverse backgrounds and experiences of the class. For instance, we will compare shapes to everyday items that are culturally familiar to the students. By including culturally relevant examples, students can better relate the lesson content to their own lives, making the learning process more fun, meaningful, and inclusive. This approach not only enhances their understanding of shapes, but also cultivates a sense of appreciation for diversity within the classroom. Next, students will participate in a hands-on activity using construction paper, scissors, and glue to create pictures incorporating the different shapes discussed. This creative exercise aims to develop motor skills while reinforcing shape recognition through artistic expression. Later, students will come up with a short story inspired by their artwork. This storytelling component not only enhances their language abilities, but also encourages them to develop narrative skills at an early age. During the presentation phase, students will have the opportunity to share their artwork and stories with their peers, practicing essential public speaking and communication skills in a supportive environment. This activity is challenging because it combines hands-on creation with shape recognition. Cutting and arranging shapes helps develop fine motor skills, while identifying and naming shapes reinforces cognitive abilities. An innovative aspect of this lesson is integrating narrative storytelling with shape exploration. I use my students' interest in storytelling to enrich their learning experience. The storytelling component adds complexity by encouraging students to express their thoughts verbally, which promotes language development, mathematical understanding, and creativity. Furthermore, I made the lesson more relatable by connecting shapes to familiar objects and cultural references they encounter daily. This approach not only teaches them about shapes, but also encourages them to apply their knowledge in a meaningful and engaging way. Students' understanding and use of shapes will be assessed in several ways. First, I'll observe how they use shapes like circles, squares, and triangles in their artwork to see if they recognize and use them correctly and creatively. During their presentations, I'll listen to the stories they create based on their artwork to evaluate their expression and imagination. I'll also ask questions about the shapes they use to understand how well they know the shapes and their features. This approach will help me see how well they've learned and applied the lesson. In conclusion, my Math All Around Us Learning Center encourages shape recognition, creativity, and cultural relevance through hands-on activities and presentations. This lesson helps students learn about shapes and develop skills in storytelling, creativity, and public speaking. It also aims to create a fun, meaningful, and inclusive learning environment that celebrates cultural diversity and enhances understanding of geometric concepts. Thank you.